Okay, we are back for probably the second half of our playtest with the Heinrich's Call of Cthulhu Guide to Character Creation. We've had a lot of developments already, but adulthood awaits. So, in adulthood, chapter is divided a little bit differently because there's just so much that happens. And here we're talking about ages 20 through 29, so we're covering your 20s. We're going to start off with your education. So this is going to tell us what kind of school you may have gone to. Go ahead and each of you roll me a d20, please. All right, Evan?
13.
Evan, a 13 is going to mean that you went to university. You attended a traditional college or university. Are you good with that?
That sounds great.
All right, then let us have you roll on our educational events table. This is going to be a D100.
I already don't like where this is going.
Oh, yes. We've got some great ones here.
So that's 11.
An 11. You fell asleep while studying in the library. You awake in the middle of the night only to have an unexpected encounter. Go ahead and refer to a separate table we have called Encounters in the Library. Also, keep in mind, I'm going to ask you to please specify what book you were reading when you fell asleep and record that book under treasured possessions.
Ooh.
But
that's cool.
let's find out what you actually encounter in the library, because that may give you a good sense of what type of thing you were reading. Okay, Encounters in the Library. Alright, this is going
How
to
to
be...
banish malicious ghosts.
Yeah, alright. Go ahead and roll a d4.
Encounters in the Library is also the name of Heinrich's forthcoming Call of Cthulhu romance novel.
Yeah,
That's
stay
a
tuned
3.
for that in 2022. A 3. Well, maybe you fell asleep reading a book, or maybe you found this book after waking up. You find a book laying in the middle of the floor. Maybe it fell, maybe it was left there. Roll high-low.
Okay. Hi.
High, okay. It is going to take us to the Mythos Tomes table.
Ruh-oh.
No.
Alright. This is going to be table 16A. Mythos Tomes. Go ahead and roll 2d10, please.
Okay.
And again, you can imagine a keeper who actually knew what their campaign was going to be about would have some ideas as to what they might find. I don't. I'm happy to go where the guide leads.
And you want the total of those?
Yes, please.
That's 15.
15 is going to be... here's what you find when you wake up. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of choices here. Because I like the result you rolled, but I also really like the result right before that I'm seeing. But I think you could play with either. So either, Evan, your choice. King in Yellow, English translation, 1895. Or the 7 Cryptical Books of Shan. So this was going to be sort of a translation of those books, because there's not like 7 books lying on the floor around you. The Chinese book may tie into Bridget's backstory potentially for her character. So that's why I think it's a decent result. But the King in Yellow is just classic. So which of those would you prefer?
Yeah, I think the seven books gives us more flexibility.
Okay, great.
I think once you plop the King in Yellow down on the table, that kind of becomes the thing that
What
you're
the
dealing with.
campaign is about. Fair enough.
So I'm gonna veer towards the more open-ended and less well-known one.
All right. So under other skills, so not occupational, not non-occupational, but other skills, you get to write +6 Cthulhu Mythos.
Ooh.
This is assuming you read the book, I should say.
Of course I do.
Yeah, right, of
We're
course.
gonna have a book
I know.
and not read it.
I give you the choice merely as a courtesy. So, yeah, +6 Cthulhu Mythos. You can also record Chinese under language other for a non-occupational skill. or whatever language it's translated in. Your choice. Now the next one is important because I happen to know that you have player handout 2, the Disturbed, and I need you to make a power roll.
Oh boy.
And that's a 77 under 80.
You're okay. Go ahead and give me a luck roll.
Oh man.
I think I had 40 with my luck.
Mm-hmm.
No, 96.
Okay. You're not getting any spells out of this.
That's right. Probably for the best, knowing.
Probably for the best. So that was your educational event, Evan. What happens now that we are done with your educational event is we start looking at what your occupations might be, and depending on where you go to school, that influences what occupations you might have available. So what I'm going to have you do is we're going to roll 3 times, and we're going to roll on an investigative table, a social and performative table, and a professional table, and find out what professions you get to list under potential occupations. These are possible life paths that you might go down. All right, investigative, social, and professional. All right. So first off, go ahead and roll a d10.
That's a 7.
Okay, so the first... it's funny that I started by talking about us all making private investigators, and here we are. So Evan, the first potential occupations you can list is private investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead now and let us go to social and performative. Roll a d6.
Okay.
2, film star. So you can
Oh,
record
God.
that under potential occupations.
I'm sorry,
And
what was that? I
Film
missed it.
star.
Oh, film star. Oh, no.
And let's next go to professional occupations and roll a d12. Say again.
10.
You could live the life of a middle manager.
Oh.
No.
So your potential occupations are those 3. You might get more, and you'll need to decide right this moment. We are going to go back to Bridgett now to learn about her education.
Okay.
It's going to be a d20.
Alrighty. Let's go with the purple one. 1.
No higher education. Either by choice or circumstance, you have not pursued a higher course of study following secondary school. You may assign your lowest remaining characteristic value to education. And then
I'm gonna take that.
Okay. We're now going to have you roll an adult event. Usually this would happen later, and it will happen again later for you, but if you don't have any school, that doesn't mean you're not living life. And so we're going to have you have an adult event. Go ahead and roll a d100 for your event of adulthood. Who knows, maybe you'll find some late education.
38.
38. You encounter good or bad fortune.
Oh.
Go ahead and give me a luck roll.
Ha! With my 30.
With your 30. It all comes around.
86.
Go ahead and roll a d12 for what your misfortune is.
I got stuck in the other dimension. 10.
10. An existing entry under significant people turns hostile.
Oh, perfect.
Roll. So you may know exactly why this is.
Okay.
If you want some inspiration, you can roll a d4.
I'm just curious what the guide has.
Yeah.
I just want to see what you have. Because I have an idea, but let's see what a 3 does.
You or their beliefs or personality changed.
Yep, let's go that way. I like that even better.
So they could live with knowing that you went to a parallel dimension. But
That's
still
fine.
Live with you coming back a pinko.
Do not want a dirty communist. Yep.
All right. Personality shifts. All right.
All right,
Okay. I
so
like that.
we still need some potential occupations for you, though. For you,
Okay.
it's a little bit more complicated. We're going to have you roll on 2 of our occupation tables, but you need to choose from 4 options. So here are the options for you, Bridgett. You need to choose 2 of these: criminal occupations, social and performative occupations, blue collar occupations, or other occupations. And other occupations is everything that doesn't fit into a neat category, and you probably have a sense of what those might be. So which of
Yeah.
those 2 would you like to roll on for your potential occupations?
Criminal and other.
Criminal and other. Good choices. All right, let's start with criminal. Go ahead and roll a... D20.
Let's go purple again. Let it be a 19.
Gambler.
I like that.
So,
Okay.
gambler under potential occupations. And now
Okay.
let's go to other occupations for your second potential. Roll a d20.
11.
11. Sex worker.
Ooh.
Or, as it's referred to in Call of Cthulhu, prostitute. Sometimes I change some of these based on my own preferences. So, those are your potential occupations.
Okay.
Alright. Let us...
Both very interesting
Both-
under a communist lens too, but that's a discussion for philosophy hour.
that's true. So those are your educational experiences. Very different upbringings. We are now going to proceed to your professional career. So professional career, it's now time for you to choose one of your potential occupations as the occupation you adopt, and that's going to give you 8 of your 9 occupational skills, your 9th occupational skill, of course, being credit rating. And what we would generally do, we're not going to take the time to do this in this playtest, is we would go to either the Keeper's Rulebook or the Investigator's book, and we would look up what are the occupational skills that come with your occupation, and you would have the option of writing those in so that you have them. But we don't need to do that right now. But I would like to know, what occupations do you choose? So from your list of potential occupations, Evan, you got to make some money, presumably. Which of those do you choose?
So I'm going to pick private investigator, both because I think a lot of people using the guide will lean that way, but also because I think at one point in his life, in this character's life, he had the option of, do I go the safe route of middle manager and hope this horrible malicious entity doesn't find me, on the 13th floor of an unmarked office building, or do I sort of go out into the world and let trouble find me? And I think he chose to pursue trouble.
And let me tell you, there are events that let you change your occupation to one of your other potential occupations. So we'll see what happens.
right.
Let's have one occupational event happen to you. So roll a d100. 12. Okay, it's going to be an occupation-specific event. So you are a private investigator, which is a kind of investigative occupation. So go ahead and roll me, I believe there's a d6. Yes, it's going to be a d6. Two. You know too much. In the course of your research, you connect various disparate facts and sources to uncover a larger conspiracy tied to a mysterious organization. Your realization of a terrible secret attracts their attention. Roll on table 17I Cult to learn who is monitoring your movements and may actively seek to intimidate you into silence. But you know what? I think we know which cult we're dealing with here.
Oh, there's so many ways you could go. One could be stalking them, and another one could be actually tracking them.
Yeah. Do you want to roll a second cult, or are you going to do Cult of the Sandbat?
No, I think we're sticking with Sandbat. And
Excellent.
I think we are doing a dangerous dance, pursuing each other
Love it.
through the mist-shrouded streets of witch-haunted Kingsport.
Excellent. Bridgett, let us learn which of your two possibilities did you choose.
So I really want to go sex worker, but I'm playing a sex worker in an ongoing campaign right now. So as not to double dip, I'm going to go gambler.
Can
and
we
see if
can
I
we
can
all
incorporate those
have
in-
can we all have your life, Bridgett? Like, oh man,
Oh my gosh!
I want to keep playing a sex worker in these tabletop role playing games.
I'm doing one for a campaign already, so I'm going to jump into something new. We're going to go
Absolutely.
gambler.
Gambler, excellent.
And one of those two imaginary friends probably helps her, him, them be a very good gambler
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely, lovely.
too. The ghost that's the friendly ghost that hangs out, she probably makes a killing at a poker table.
Well, let's find out how it goes. You get an occupational event. Roll a D100.
Wow, it's an 87.
An 87 is going to take us to, well, so this one requires a little bit of interpretation for you. You are promoted. Makes sense for a lot of jobs. It doesn't really make sense for a gambler. But given what you were just saying about, just
Professional
racking
gambler?
it in, professional
That's
gambler, yeah.
Yeah.
Straight gambler
you
versus
love
being
to
a
be-
celebrity or professional, or I do this full time.
Yep. So we would allow you to assign one of your occupational skill values to credit rating, reflecting that you're making more money now. So,
Love it.
if you bam. Cool.
Oh,
All right. So that was your professional event there. I'll also say the campaign starts in Boston. It's going to be pretty easy to get Evan's character there. We're still going to need to work a little bit on how to get Bridgett's character there. But they are a gambler. They, I think, are making a
Boston
killing.
Turnip.
Lots of options that we have, yeah. But maybe we still have a few more events. So let's learn about your family life. The guide is well...
Evan, we both have. You're haunted by a ghost, and I'm hanging out with one. That alone.
I see ghosts.
God,
Oh, so do I.
The same ghost who's just like one of us really misunderstands this ghost. Just getting it super wrong.
Alright, let us learn about your family life. We are almost through here, but let's do family life. Let's do a D100 from each of you, please.
Damn it. You don't want to stay on the table, do you?
Ha. Evan, how did it go?
That's a lucky 13.
A lucky 13 for you. Evan, love grows. You have a memorable experience with your love interest. Oh, you don't have a love interest? No problem. We're going to go to Chapter XX, Love. And actually, it's already been renamed Chapter 23, Romance. But I kind of like Chapter XX, Love. All right.
He was an intruder in the library. We've already established this.
That's right. Is that okay with you to go down that road? Okay. Go ahead and roll a D100 for us to learn who is your love interest.
That's 18.
It's going to be a professional, an individual closely associated with their occupation. Now, you could roll a d12 and refer to the appropriate occupational tables that we've already been rolling on, right? So, intellectual, investigative, law, medicine, etc. But if you have an occupation in mind that this person would be, maybe you just want to write that down.
Yeah. So I have been immersing myself in sort of classic detective stories lately. So I'm going to lean on the thing where the investigator and their secretary are sort of a couple.
Excellent.
I like that.
All right. So that's who they are, but let's find out how your relationship goes.
Bro.
So this is going to be, this is table 23B, romance. Roll a D100.
Okay. That's a 15.
A 15. You enter into a committed relationship. This could be marriage, civil union, or you've just chosen each other.
Sure.
Roll high-low. Low. No children.
Okay.
Probably for the best. All right, Bridgett. Probably, yeah. Let's skip back to you, Bridgett, and let us find out about your family life. Go ahead and give us a D100.
It was an 89.
89. Surprise sibling. A person introduces themselves to you as a before unknown sibling.
From my biological parents? That would be great.
Yeah, so you're going to record them under significant people, but we're going to learn a distinguishing feature about them.
Okay.
So let us... relationship... No. Here we go. Okay, go ahead and roll a d20.
It's a 20.
It's a 20. They are your sibling, your surprise sibling that you didn't know about from your birth parents, is someone closely associated with their occupation. So we could roll up their occupation, or if you have a occupation in mind that they might be, you could just write that down.
I'm going to go law enforcement.
Ah, excellent.
That'd be a great combination.
All right. So that is your family life. You find out that you have a surprise sibling. Now, the last thing, this is the last event we have before campaign start, in a sense, is after going through your education, your professional career, your family life, you get one adult event for your 20s. And so we're going to... Bridge is already familiar with this chart from her own upbringing, from her own investigator's upbringing, but roll a D100 for your investigator's last event. Evan, let's start with you.
That was a 38.
A 38, Evan, means that you experience good or bad fortune. Make a luck roll, my friend.
Oh, God. Here's that 40 again.
Yeah, no, that's a 71 on a 40.
All right. So go ahead and roll me a d12 to find out what misfortune you encounter.
All of them, running the table on the misfortunes. 1.
A 1. All right. I could see this happening to a private investigator. Maybe it's the most appropriate, but you can re-roll if you want. Remember, your character. Result 1. Wild beasts. You suffer an animal attack. The cause could be a wild animal, a neighborhood dog, or something you do not fully understand or remember. And then we'll have a 1d3 to see what happens.
Okay. Let me roll a 1d... Wait, do you want me to choose, or am I going to roll a 1d3?
No, go ahead and roll. And I'm really curious if you will roll a 2.
I rolled a 3.
Okay.
Sorry.
2 was going to be someone close to you is killed.
Oh,
A 3 is going to be you escape physically unscathed, but develop a phobia in connection with the animal responsible for the attack.
Guess who's scared of bats?
Guess who's scared of bats? As
Oh,
you are chasing
perfect.
down the sandbat colt.
Perfect. Oh, that's excellent.
That is awesome.
I love this. This is
Okay,
so good.
Bridgett, D100. Let's find out what your
65.
last event is here. 65. Good Samaritan. You help a stranger. For example, a warm meal and shelter, some financial support, medical care, or you rescue them from a life-threatening situation. The individual disappears suddenly thereafter, but they leave behind a note reading only, "Your kindness will not be forgotten." And then it has some instructions for what I, as the keeper, do on my end. And I would just make some notes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Are you good with that, or would you like one more?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm great with that.
All right. Well, those are all your events. We're going to go through kind of the bookkeeping of this, but then we'll circle back to sort of have you talk about who your investigator is, because we want to know how you've connected all of these disparate dots. We're going to skip over Chapter 6, Middle Age and Beyond, because you're in your 20s. So Chapter 7 of the guide would be Finishing Touches, and here's where we do all the remaining details. So I want you to take a look at your backstory sheets. Do you have entries for significant people, traits, personal description, and meaningful location? Those should all be, I think, on the left column for you.
I do not have any of those.
Okay, so you would have some that you could fill in, Evan. So, for example, your love interest would be a significant person.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Thank you.
And I think at some point you rolled a personality trait, and you could include that under traits. So as we go through, you would fill these in. And if you had anything that was still open, we would go through and we would roll so that you would have something under there. You don't need to roll for things like injuries and scars, phobias and manias, arcane tomes, spells and artifacts, or encounters with strange entities. In your case, I think all of you had all of those, but not everyone will, and that's fine. Not everyone needs to, have a devastated upbringing before they start the campaign. So that would be remaining details. We would also, at this point now, assign all your remaining characteristic values, as well as all of your occupational skill values, right? We would, you would put in what you think makes sense. Evan, if your investigator, was really ran away from sandbats, you might go, oh, okay, that kind of tells me how I want to assign their physical attributes. And then the last thing we would then do is reconcile. And this is the word I use for if your keeper has any specific instructions for character generation. Here's how, where we would reconcile it. The guide uses the Keeper Rulebook's quickfire method of character creation. That's what works well in the context of these events we roll, but other keepers just give you 460 characteristic points to spend between them. And at this point, again, it's your character. You could change anything about them, you could move around, the values. Guide's not going to tell you have to do it a certain way, but you've got a number of suggestions based on the events you've rolled. We would then do derived values, all of that good stuff that we are very familiar with from the Keeper's Rulebook. But so the last thing we need to do is come up with some names.
You don't have a name generator, do you?
I sure do have a name generator.
I swear to God, like anytime I'm doing great, I'm rolling, everything looks awesome, I know everything about this person. What's their name? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Name.
So I will say right now, the name list is fairly short. It'll be expanded a little bit in the guide later on. But your names will come from a fairly limited selection. But I can tell you, Evan, we'll start with you. Your character comes from the Americas, yes? Fair to say, Kingsport. Would you go with a masculine name or a feminine name?
Let's say a masculine name, because I've assigned him a gender in my head.
Okay, then go ahead and roll a d10. And you can see how few results there are right now. There will be more in the later
That's
book.
Fine. Yeah, 9.
A 9 is going to be Oliver.
Oh, very good. That's a lovely name.
Yeah. And I unfortunately must place on you the burden of coming up with a last name, because that is yet to be added.
Well, he's from a cursed New England family, so I guess he's a Kennedy.
There you go, Oliver Kennedy.
Ooh, Oliver Kennedy.
All right. Bridgett, fair to say your character comes from Asia or Oceania? So I could see it going both ways.
Yeah, I think I'm going to skip over both, and the adopted parents actually assigned a name.
Do you have a name in mind, or do you have a region from which the name would come? So we've got Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, or Oceania.
No, we're going to do American.
Okay. And are you leaning masculine names or feminine names?
Feminine.
All right, go ahead and roll a 10-sided die.
10. 3.
3 is going to be one of the I think less common names here. Ximena would be Ximena.
Spell it one more time.
Ximena.
I like that.
Yeah, and especially the she sound is also very
Very
Asian.
snakish.
So also very
It's
snakish.
also snake, yeah.
Look, I'm thinking of where you're from, and you're like serpent people. It's all about the serpent people.
Yeah. No, serpent people. I was literally googling names that something to do with serpentine, snake, blah blah blah. So yeah.
I'm gonna turn it over to both of you now. Maybe just a minute or two. Can you tell us about your investigator? We don't need to hear every single event of what happened to them. But if someone were to say, tell me about your investigator, you've learned a lot about them, you can't share it all, but how would you go about that? I'll let you choose, whoever wants to go first.
You want to go for it, Evan?
Sure. So Oliver Kennedy, despite growing up in fancy Kingsport, has been basically on the short end of every stick he's ever encountered. He's been pursued, he's been injured, he's been terrified, and he's decided, despite that, to continue running towards the darkness and see how far he can press his luck.
Excellent. Bridgett.
Ximena Harper appears to be of some type of Caucasian Asian descent. She's not very attractive, but she is very quick and she is overconfident, almost to the point of like narcissism level of overconfident. Maybe that comes with the background where she is a professional gambler and one that is just like uncannily lucky all the time, even when like the cards are down, the bets are against her. She somehow knows when to bet, when not to bet, there's no way she can run the numbers that well in her head, and that has boosted her ego quite a bit. She travels around. In addition to being a professional gambler, there is something about the way that she plays that almost seems manic, as if she is either trying to distract herself from something or that she's trying to dive into something that's not addressing the fact that she has scars on her face, the fact that she can't really hear well out of her right side of her ear, or the fact that her eyes are constantly darting around a room as if she sees something or as if something just walked across her grave. So despite the narcissistic confidence, there's something unsettling about it. You can tell the slate face is strong, but you can see the pebbles crumbling beneath her.
I mean, people have literally been trying to kill her since birth.
The second the baby dropped.
Yeah. That's excellent. I'm very happy with your investigators. I would be super happy to run a campaign that featured them. Alas, this has been but a game of pretend. And so these investigators, unless you take them into your own campaigns, will alas have to remain in your imaginations. But with that, I see that we have hit time on this playtest. I want to thank Bridgett, Evan. You have both been amazing. I think you have used the guide, I think, in exactly the right way, and I think it has helped inspire some of the awesomeness that you have shared with us. Bridgett, can I turn it over to you? Is there anything you would like to share by way of your own promotion, or anything that you have coming up that you would like to plug? This is an opportunity to do so.
Oh, God. So, personal plugs. What's going on right now? As an ambassador for Chaosium, if you are looking at attending the inaugural Chaosium Con, that will be held April 8th through April 9th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The three of us will all be in attendance, so feel free to come in, give us a high five, a fist bump, or a mask 6 foot away, hello. And if you're looking to connect with me, you can hop over to www.symphonyentertainment.com. All my social links are in there. Don't do the Twitter one. I don't know what the hell happens on Twitter. But you can hop into the Symphony Discord or the Facebook group, or you can email me directly if you have questions.
Awesome. Evan, anything you would like to give a shout out to?
Nothing tremendously. Keep an eye on the Drive-Thru RPG. I put things out at a slow pace there. God willing, I'll have a book coming out from Chaosium this year or next year with Bridgett's name on it, with John Hook's name on it. And because I am as ancient as the stones, I am on Facebook a lot. You can look for me there. I'm on Twitter at Stories Colossal, where I read a lot more than I post. And I love collaborating. I don't have a whole lot of time to play, but I love chatting. So find me and we'll talk.
Awesome.
That'd be great.
Well, thank you both so much. I could not have imagined this going any better. Thanks to the Miskatonic Repository community who's helped inspire and support passion projects like this one. If you're wondering about our playtest feedback, we are going to do that, but I think we're all exhausted right now from that experience, so we're going to make that a separate video, and we'll bring that to you, and we'll sort of talk about the types of questions to ask, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then, of course, look forward to seeing Heinrich's guide in the new year, sometime in January or February. Until then, stay tuned for more.
Thank you.